Some people seem to enjoy being unkind. They try to test how much you can take. They look for ways to upset you and hope you will lose control. That's what they want. But here's something important to remember. If you lose your temper, they get what they were hoping for. True strength is in staying calm. When you answer with words that are clear and thoughtful, without shouting or getting upset, you can surprise them. Your quiet strength can leave them with nothing to say. No need to yell. No need to get emotional. Just use clear and calm words that show you are not afraid. Words that make them think twice about treating you badly again. In this video, I'll share strong and respectful ways to respond to rude behavior. These phrases can help you feel confident and stop others from being disrespectful. If you enjoy deep and thoughtful ideas about staying calm, growing as a person, and living with wisdom, you might like my free newsletter. Every Sunday I share helpful lessons, honest thoughts, and easy steps to become better and wiser, all at no cost. Would you like to be part of it? You can sign up using the link below. Every week, you'll get something valuable in your inbox. And if you are part of a brand and want to support my work while reaching a caring and curious audience, feel free to send an email using the contact below. I'd love to build something meaningful with you. 1. If I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke. This comeback works really well because it does two things at the same time. It sounds funny, but it also hits hard. At first, it might seem like a joke, but the truth behind it is harsh. What you're really saying is, you never say anything smart, but you don't say it directly. You let the words speak for themselves. It points out that the person talks a lot, but doesn't say anything important. Some people who are rude like to talk all the time, but they don't actually say anything that matters. This line reminds them of that. It shows them that their words don't mean much. And the best part? They won't know how to answer. If they get upset, they look weak. If they try to fight back, they prove your point. It's like a perfect move in a game. They can't win. Here's how I used this line once and stopped someone right away. There was this guy I went to school with. Let's call him Ryan. Ryan only had one thing he was known for, making fun of people. He wasn't smart, he wasn't very funny, and he wasn't doing well in life either. But he was loud, and he acted like he was better than everyone else. He liked to insult others in a sneaky way, just to make himself feel more important. One day we were all talking in a group. I was sharing an idea, just something simple. But Ryan cut in and said, "Oh yeah, because you're such a genius, right?" He said it in that voice people use when they think they're better than everyone else. People laughed. Not because he was clever, but because he was loud and full of confidence. And in that kind of moment, you have two choices. You can let it go or you can stop them. I smiled and said, "Ryan, if I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke." Then, silence. One guy choked on his drink. Someone else said, "Oh, wow." And Ryan just sat there, moving around in his seat, trying to think of something to say. But he had nothing. That's when I realized something. People who talk the most aren't always the smartest, and if you call them out the right way, they fall apart. Why does this comeback work so well? Because it shows that they don't say anything smart, but without calling them dumb straight out. You're not being mean in a loud way, but the meaning is still clear. It also changes who has the power. Rude people like to make others feel small, but this line gives that feeling back to them. They don't know what to do. If they argue, they just sound even less smart. If they stay quiet, it feels like they gave up. Either way, you win. When should you use this line? When someone always interrupts you just to make fun of you. When someone at work acts like they know everything, but never helps or gives real ideas. When a friend always jokes about you but never says anything smart themselves. Some people like to bring others down, but most of the time, they don't have much to say that's helpful. They hide behind jokes and sarcasm, hoping people won't see their fear or weakness. The best way to deal with them? Call them out. Next time someone who never says anything smart tries to act like they're the smartest person in the room, just say, "If I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke." Then sit back and watch them try to find something to say. 2. I appreciate your opinion. It'll be gone from my memory in no time. Some people seem to enjoy putting others down, not to help, but to hurt. They try to take control of a moment by acting superior or by making others feel small, hoping their unkind words will shake someone's confidence. But when you respond with this kind of calm, thoughtful sentence, you take all that power away in an instant. Because, let's be honest, most of the time when someone speaks rudely or puts you down, they're not offering anything that's helpful or thoughtful. They're not interested in starting a meaningful conversation, and they're certainly not trying to help you grow. Instead, they're speaking just to hear their own voice, expecting you to get upset or take it personally. But instead of giving their words importance, you do the opposite. You show them that what they said matters so little, it won't even stay in your mind. That's what makes this kind of reply so strong. You acknowledge that they said something, and then calmly let them know it's not even worth remembering. Why this phrase works so well? People who are mean on purpose want their words to stay with you. They hope you'll keep thinking about what they said, that it will bring you down or make you doubt yourself. But when you say something like, "I appreciate your opinion. It'll be gone from my memory in no time," you're making it very clear that their words don't have any space in your world. You're telling them, without being mean, that they just wasted their time, and you're not carrying that negativity with you. And honestly, that's one of the most surprising and frustrating things for someone who was trying to get a reaction. They were hoping for an argument. They wanted you to get upset or try to defend yourself, but instead you stayed calm, you stayed kind, and you moved on. That silence afterward, that's them realizing they lost. It protects your energy and peace of mind. Some people seem to love drama and chaos. They try to create tension, and they feed off the reactions of others. But your peace, your ability to stay calm, focused, and confident is far more important than giving them what they want. That's why this phrase is so powerful. It doesn't just end the conversation, it ends their ability to bother you at all. Real-life example from the workplace. Let's say you have a coworker who often puts down other people's ideas, not because your ideas are bad, but simply because they enjoy being critical. Maybe in a meeting you offer a helpful suggestion, and they respond with a smirk and say something like, "Well, that's an interesting thought, but maybe we should leave the real planning to those who know what they're doing." Instead of getting flustered or upset, you calmly say, "Thanks for the feedback, I'm sure I'll forget it very quickly." Then you continue speaking as if their words didn't touch you at all. That reply doesn't just protect your confidence, it also makes it clear to everyone else in the room that their comment didn't deserve your time or your emotions. With family or friends who are negative, sometimes even the people closest to us say things that sting. A relative might make a sarcastic comment about your dreams or goals, something like, "Still chasing that idea? When are you going to get serious about your life?" Instead of trying to explain yourself or argue back, you could smile gently and say, "Thanks for sharing, I've already let it go." Then move the conversation to something lighter. Without raising your voice or being rude, you've just shown them that their attempt to make you feel small didn't work. With strangers or people online, let's say someone on social media or in public says something unnecessary and rude, hoping to embarrass or upset you. Instead of letting it ruin your day, you calmly reply with something like, "That must have sounded better in your head. Anyway, thanks, I'll forget it in a second." The more relaxed and easygoing your tone, the more it shows them how little their comment mattered. The power behind this kind of response. People who speak with cruelty often work in a very simple way. They throw out unkind words. You react. They feel like they've won. But when you answer with quiet, calm dismissal, when you show that their words mean nothing to you, you take away the reward they were hoping for. You remind them that their words have no weight, and they don't get to shape how you feel. 3. That kind of attitude won't help you much in life. This isn't just something to say back, it's a reminder. Some people think being rude, mean, or disrespectful makes them strong, but the truth is, acting like that doesn't take you anywhere. It only holds you back. Why this line makes an impact? People who act rude often believe they're being confident. But being mean isn't the same as being strong. No one looks up to someone who treats others badly. No manager wants to promote someone who can't work nicely with others. No one wants to be close to someone who puts people down all the time. And no successful person got where they are by being loud and cruel instead of thoughtful and kind. So when you say, that kind of attitude won't help you much in life, you're not just telling them off, you're showing them where their actions are taking them. You're helping them see that how they act today will shape their future. Here's how I used this line and saw the effect right away. A few years back, I worked with someone named Mark. Mark acted like being rude was part of who he was. If someone made a mistake, he'd sigh or roll his eyes instead of helping. If someone shared an idea, he would shut it down right away. He believed that making others feel small made him look more important. One day during a meeting, he snapped at a teammate and said, "Maybe if you actually knew what you were doing, we wouldn't be wasting time." The room got quiet. Everyone felt uncomfortable, but no one spoke up, because rude people hope others will stay silent, but I couldn't let it go. I looked at him and calmly said, "That kind of attitude won't help you much in life." At first, he smirked like it didn't bother him, but as the meeting went on, I noticed something. He wasn't laughing anymore. He didn't look so sure of himself. For once, he seemed unsure. Why? Because deep down he knew I was right, and the best part? A few months later, when it was time for promotions, Mark didn't get one. Because even if you're good at your job, if people don't want to work with you, you won't go far. Why this line works so well? It makes them stop and think about what their actions really mean. Sure, being rude might make them feel powerful now, but where is that taking them? This line shows them that their behavior isn't just unpleasant, it's hurting their future. It's not name-calling, it's the truth. And sometimes, the truth hits harder than any insult. When to use this line? When a co-worker talks down to you or others, remind them that this will cost them later. When a stranger is acting rudely in public, sometimes people need to hear it from someone. When a family member keeps being hurtful, even though they think they don't have to change. When a friend always has a bad attitude or treats others poorly, it may be time they heard the truth. Final thought. Some people walk through life thinking that being rude makes them strong, untouchable, or better than others. But life doesn't work that way. Life has a way of reminding people that how you treat others matters. So next time someone disrespects you, stay calm and say, "That kind of attitude won't help you much in life." Then watch as they pause, and maybe, just maybe, they start to understand they've been the problem all along. 4. You have the right to think what you want, and I have the right not to give it any attention. This is one of the quietest but strongest ways to handle people who are rude, full of pride, or quick to judge. It's not an insult. It doesn't come from anger. It's simply a way of showing that their opinion doesn't affect your world. And honestly, nothing bothers someone who loves to feel important more than being calmly ignored. Here's something many people don't realize. When someone speaks to you in a harsh or disrespectful way, it's usually not because they care. It's not even because they're sure they're right. Most of the time, they just want control. They want to lead the talk and feel bigger than you. They want their words to feel like rules, and they want you to feel small and silent. But when you stay quiet, when you don't explain yourself, when you just nod and go on with your day, they don't get what they were looking for. You keep your peace, they lose the power. I remember when I finally understood this. Before, I felt like I always had to prove something. If someone didn't like my choices, I'd try to explain why they were good. If someone made fun of something I was building, I'd tell them how important it was to me. That was a mistake. Once I was starting a big project. I'd worked on it for weeks. I stayed up late, worked through hard moments, and gave up a lot to keep going. I shared it with an old friend, and he gave a small laugh. He said, "That's a waste of time. Do you really think anyone will care?" The old me would have tried to defend it. I would have listed all the reasons I believed in it. I would have tried to change his mind. But then I asked myself, why am I trying to explain this to someone who's never built anything at all? So instead, I smiled and said, "You have the right to your opinion, and I have the right not to pay attention to it." Then I changed the topic. And you know what? He didn't know what to say after that. He wanted me to get upset. He expected me to try to win his approval. But I didn't. And in that quiet moment, he knew that his words had no power over me. That's why this response works so well. It doesn't give rude people what they're looking for, your feelings. It tells them they can say whatever they want. But you don't have to listen. You're not trying to be accepted. You're not shaken by their opinions, and that bothers them, especially when they want to hurt you with their words. Being ignored is something they can't stand. That's why this gentle reply can be so strong. It makes them see their words mean nothing to you. And for someone who believes their opinion is everything, that's hard to accept. When to use this response? If someone laughs at your dreams or says your plans are silly, maybe you're doing something different, just smile and say, "You have your opinion and I have mine. I choose not to follow yours." So if a family member speaks harshly about your choices, maybe a parent, brother, sister, or another relative, just say, "You're allowed to think that, and I'm allowed not to let it affect me." If a co-worker acts like your ideas don't matter, some people love to act like they know more, just calmly reply, "That's your opinion, and I don't need to follow it," and move on. Something honest to remember. Most people who criticize you are not doing better than you. They just speak louder. And people who speak the loudest often feel unsure inside. They want to take charge of the moment because they are scared they might be wrong. This response reminds them, in a quiet way, that their words don't move you, that you are not looking for their praise, that what they say is just their thought, not the truth. A final thought. There's an old saying that goes, "A lion doesn't worry about what sheep think." That's the way to think about this. So the next time someone tries to tell you what you should do, or makes a rude comment about your life, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't give them your piece. Just smile and say, "You can think that, and I can choose to ignore it," and go on with your day. Because your life belongs to you, and what they think, it doesn't matter at all. But there is something important to understand. If you have been trying for a long time to get out of your comfort zone and learn more, but you still haven't managed to do so, there may be something you are not aware of. I know what it could be. It is anxiety. Anxiety is like a snake that comes silently and affects you without you realizing it. It makes you feel bad for days, months, and even years. Living like this is like being sick all the time. But I know a solution. The Stoic philosophers, together with modern psychology, have a way to help you get rid of this. I myself managed to cure myself of this anxiety. I made a video explaining how you can get rid of this evil, and it is in the first comment. Click on the link in the first comment and start curing yourself of this feeling of anxiety. 5. I don't argue with people who enjoy being unkind. This line is more than just a comeback. It shows strength. You're letting the other person know, "I see what you're doing, and I'm not going to join in." Because let's be honest, some people don't want to have a real conversation. They're not trying to understand your point or reach any kind of agreement. They just want to cause trouble, make others feel small, and act like they're better than everyone else. These are the people who don't really listen. They only wait for their turn to talk. They twist every little disagreement into a personal attack. You could say something simple like, "I like tea more than coffee," and they'd still take it the wrong way. They act like being rude is part of their personality. They like to say things like, "I'm just being honest," when really they're just being hurtful. So why waste your time? Why try to talk with someone who doesn't even treat you with respect? Here's how I used this line and walked away feeling strong. A while ago, I had a co-worker. Let's call him Jake. Jake wasn't just rude. He seemed to enjoy being unkind. He didn't just disagree with people. He made sure they felt bad about their ideas. He talked over others in meetings, never offered helpful thoughts, and made sly, mean comments whenever he could. One day during a group talk, I shared a simple idea to help with our work. I hadn't even finished when Jake rolled his eyes and said, "Yeah, because you're such an expert, right?" His tone was mean and dismissive, and it came out of nowhere. A few years ago, I might have argued back. I might have tried to explain myself or even snap at him, but not that day. That day, I didn't let him pull me into his mess. I leaned back, looked him in the eye, and calmly said, "I don't argue with people who enjoy being unkind." And then I said nothing else. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at Jake, waiting for what he would say, but he had no answer. If he kept going, he would only prove I was right. If he backed down, he'd look unsure. He just sat there, shifting in his seat, clearly trying to think of something, but there was nothing left for him to say. The best part, after that, he never tried that behavior with me again. Why does this line work so well? It shines a light on what they're doing without joining in. You're not being mean. You're just being honest in a peaceful way. People like this get energy from your reactions. When you don't give them one, they lose their power. You make them stop and think, even if they never say it out loud. It's like holding up a mirror so they can see their own behavior. When should you use this line? When someone keeps trying to argue or start a fight, even when you're calm. When a boss or co-worker talks down to you and makes you feel small. When a friend or family member treats you badly, even though they say they care. When a stranger is rude and wants to upset you. Not every fight is worth having. Some people just want to win, not solve anything. They feel better when others get upset, and that's not okay. So what's the best response? No response. Just say, "I don't argue with people who enjoy being unkind," then walk away. Because the moment they see they don't have power over you anymore, they've already lost. 6. This conversation was finished before it even had the chance to begin. This isn't just a clever phrase you throw out in the middle of a heated moment. It's a calm but powerful way to show someone that their attempt to start trouble has already failed. It's the kind of response that doesn't just stop an argument in its tracks. It removes the need for one completely. When you say this, you're letting the other person know that while they might have been preparing for a fight, you're not interested in giving them the attention or the reaction they were hoping for. People who act rudely or mean-spirited often do it because they enjoy causing tension. They don't always want to solve problems or understand someone else's point of view. They want to push buttons, start trouble, and feel like they're in charge by making others upset. But something powerful happens when you choose not to argue back. When you calmly show that their harsh words don't matter to you and that you have no interest in playing their game, they lose the one thing they were counting on, your reaction. By saying, "This conversation was finished before it even had the chance to begin," you're not just ending the moment, you're showing them that their attitude and behavior don't deserve your time or energy. You're taking away their control in a way that is peaceful but firm. And here's the thing. Nothing throws a rude person off more than realizing they don't have the power to bother you. Why this works so well? Imagine someone being unkind, expecting you to respond with anger or frustration. But instead of doing that, you stay calm and unbothered, making it clear that their words didn't even reach you. That's what this line does. It turns their attempt to upset you into something that completely falls apart. You take away the fight they were hoping for. You show them their words are so unimportant that you won't even waste time answering them. And you protect your own peace by not getting pulled into a pointless back and forth. A real moment when this worked. A few years ago, I had a co-worker who loved to complain and criticize everything. Let's call him Jake. It didn't matter what idea was shared or how hard someone worked. Jake would find something negative to say, and he always seemed to do it loudly, especially when others were around. One day during a team meeting, I suggested a new way to handle a task. I hadn't even finished explaining it when Jake interrupted with a smirk and said, "Or we could just do it the right way instead." I could feel the room go quiet, everyone waiting to see what I would do next. Jake clearly wanted me to argue, to explain myself, to get upset, but I didn't do any of those things. I looked at him calm and steady and said, "This conversation was finished before it even had the chance to begin." Then, without raising my voice or showing any anger, I turned my focus back to my work. Jake didn't know what to say. He looked surprised, maybe even embarrassed, and he didn't say another word. After that day, he never tried to start anything with me again. When to use this line, use it when someone is clearly trying to upset you on purpose, especially if they've done it before. When a classmate, co-worker, or even someone in your own family speaks to you in a way that's meant to start a fight, this line lets them know you won't be part of it. It's also helpful when a stranger says something rude just to get a reaction, because not everyone deserves a reply. Final thought, not every mean comment needs an answer, and not every rude person deserves your time or energy. Some people only feel powerful when they upset others, but they lose that power the second you stop caring. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a pointless argument, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say, "This conversation was finished before it even had the chance to begin." Then walk away knowing that, without even raising your voice, you've already won. 7. You really seem focused on making yourself look silly. Some people behave in ways that cause problems on purpose. They seem to enjoy arguments, drama, and making things harder than they need to be. It's as if they wake up in the morning and ask themselves, "What can I do today that will make others shake their heads at me?" When you reply with a calm sentence like this, you gently show them something they weren't expecting, that they're not making you look bad at all. In fact, they're only making themselves look worse. What makes this kind of response so powerful is that it turns the whole situation around. They may have thought they were being clever or funny at your expense, but instead, you quietly reveal the truth. They're drawing attention to their own behavior, not yours. Why this response works so well? It can plant a thought in the other person's mind that makes them wonder if they've crossed a line. Even if they don't say it out loud, something in their head might whisper, "Wait, was that actually kind of embarrassing?" That one moment of reflection can be stronger than any argument. Instead of defending yourself or getting upset, your reply gently pushes the spotlight onto them. And suddenly other people around might begin to notice just how unkind or foolish their actions are. At that point, the person being rude either tries to back down quietly or continues acting out, which only proves your point. Either way, you've kept your cool while they've lost theirs. This gives you the power in the conversation. You're not getting mad. You're not raising your voice. You're just calmly stating what you see. And in doing that, you come across as confident, mature, and strong. And the best part? You do it all without showing even a hint of frustration. How to use this in real life? At school or work? Let's say someone keeps interrupting you while you're speaking, rolling their eyes, or whispering rude comments under their breath. Instead of losing your temper, you can pause, look at them gently, and say something like, "You really seem focused on making yourself look silly today." Then you return to what you were saying, as if their behavior didn't affect you at all. That quiet strength speaks louder than anything else you could say. With a friend or family member, maybe you know someone who often makes little mean comments disguised as jokes. If they say something like, "Wow, you finally did something right for once," you don't have to argue or defend yourself. You can just smile and say, "It sounds like you're putting a lot of effort into embarrassing yourself." Then you carry on enjoying your day. That calm reply gently shows them how unkind they're being, without you ever raising your voice. With strangers or online, sometimes people on the internet or in public say things just to stir up trouble. If someone leaves a rude comment or says something hurtful to get a reaction from you, you can reply with, "Seems like you're really working hard to embarrass yourself today. Keep it up." Then you log off or walk away, leaving them to think about their own behavior without giving them the fight they were hoping for. Why this is so effective? Many people who act rudely think they're winning when they get a reaction. They believe they're being clever or showing off in front of others. But when you calmly show them how they're really coming across, it's like holding up a mirror. They suddenly have to face the truth, that their behavior isn't impressive or funny. It's just awkward. And now, everyone can see it. That's the real strength of this approach. You're not trying to beat them with meaner words. You're simply staying calm and letting their actions speak for themselves. That kind of quiet confidence is powerful. At the end of the day, handling rude people isn't about being mean back. It's about keeping your cool, protecting your peace, and showing them that their words don't have the power they hoped for. Disrespect only works when you let it sink in. But when you stay calm, offer a thoughtful reply, and carry on without a care, you leave them with nothing to hold on to. So next time someone tries to drag you into an argument or say something unkind, remember this: you don't have to fight. You don't have to explain. You can just calmly remind them that they're only hurting their own image, and then walk away with your head held high. And once they realize that their words meant nothing to you, that's when you've already won.